Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever one it is for you. I hope you're doing well. This is episode 2 of Today is to Debate, and I'm here with the lovely ladies, Kate and Ellie. Kate, how are you doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. I had a bit of a stressful day, as you know. My poor cat got run over earlier, so I had to rush to the vets and he had to be put down. So it's been one of them days, but I'm looking forward to the show tonight. So, yeah, good thing to take your mind off your troubles. Sitting with the ladies and having a chinwag.
Yeah, nothing like it, eh? How about you, Ellie? How are you doing?
Yeah. I've been getting over a really sore throat and a head cold, but I'm nearly there. I've been drinking a lot of whiskey, which has really made me tipsy, but I didn't care because my throat,
I
I can
love it.
actually speak now. If I go into a coughing fit, I'll put the mute on so I don't disturb people.
Or if you fall over drunk, that's,
Yeah,
you know,
or if I fall over drunk, yeah.
Yeah.
oh dear.
Yeah,
We are going to obviously talk about something that I think we all sort of want to forget, but it was just not that long ago, and we haven't actually spoken about it together. I've heard a bit of your views, Kate. I've heard obviously some of yours, Ellie, and also obviously what you put in group chats and stuff. So, Kate, thoughts on that Wolves game?
So disappointing. I mean, I can't say I was overly surprised with the personnel that were out playing for us. Just shows what a massive drop off it is when we have players like Madison and Van der Ven and Udogi, of course, he went there, Romero. Just a massive drop in class. So, yeah, disappointing. I think the biggest kick in the teeth was the way we lost it at the end. Just
Yeah.
gut wrenching to lose it in the 97th minute. But yeah, like I say, it's going to be a tough few weeks, I think, till our players come back. But we must muscle through it. See how we go.
Yeah. And how about you, Ellie?
yeah, it's a bit of a downer, isn't it? We can't paper over the cracks. We have got an uphill battle to fight now because we've lost the speed out of our team and the recovery when balls are played over the top with Van der Ven, and we've lost all our craft with Madison being injured, and then we've lost Romero. And Udogi doesn't. Today I heard that he's got an injury that's quite bad, and he didn't travel to Italy to play for Italy. So there's always light on every tunnel, you know. But I know we go into it in a dark tunnel. We've got to find some light, haven't we, girls? We
Exactly.
really do. We've got to dig
Yeah,
deep and
no,
try and get
absolutely.
the best. We've got to try and do the best out of what is a really dire situation, if you forgive the pun.
Yeah, I was going to say literally. Let's
Literally,
quickly say
yeah.
hello to everybody. If you are on my channel, please go over and subscribe to Kate. I have pinned the link at the top. And if you are over at, on Kate's channel, please can you do the same and come over to my channel and give me a subscribe. Both links are there. I'll be posting them both as well later on during the show anyway. For you all. We've got Eltel Cockerell saying big up ladies, big up to you. We've got Tequila causing trouble, saying that I'm going up against the Irish Hotspur when actually they changed their time because they're normally on a Monday. So actually it wasn't us, it was
Yeah.
them. So those
And
got
Jack,
in
Jack
trouble.
messaged me, by the way, and he said he'll
Yeah,
send the people over
me.
to us. Yeah, he messaged
Yeah,
me
yeah,
as
he
well.
messaged me as
So it's
well.
been very kind. Yeah.
There we go. See, nothing to see here, Tequila. Just do you know what it is? It's because he hasn't paid me yet for his Jaffa cakes, and he's getting a bit twitchy. That's all, because he needs more
You
Jaffa
know what I
cakes.
mean? Free Jaffa
Hi from
cake
Leicester.
tequila.
Yeah, it definitely is. David Clark saying hi from Leicester. Hope everyone in the chat is well. We've got Lee Smithy Smith. Big up crew. Big up to you, Lee. Of course, we've got Ben saying RIP Blue. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just want to say that Neville playing left back is driving me crazy. I think he's referred to the ladies' team.
Yeah, my favourite player, Ash Neville. Yeah, shame. I agree with him as well. She should really be playing midfield.
We've got the lovely Drilla saying, our 3 gorgeous Spurs ladies in one show. We are spoilt tonight. Big up the chat. I'm sorry to hear that, Kate. Sending you love. There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Earlier, Greek. I was trying to do Greek words and she kept telling what I was saying.
Oh, no.
Big up to Leo, of course.
Yes.
We've got Daniel E saying, sorry to hear that, Kate.
Thank you.
We've got Nita, hi ladies, I hope you're good. Sorry about your cat, Kate. Send everyone's giving you lots of love.
Thank
We've got
you.
the one and only Jimbo in the house. Big up, gorgeous ladies. Big up, Jimbo. So he's fast becoming absolutely one of my faves. I love Jim. Every time I listen to him, he's just so positive. I just think, yeah, come on, Jim.
I like the
can't
voice
believe.
messages when you hear Jim in the background.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
We've got Martin Knightsbridge saying, evening, ladies.
Evening.
Still waiting for Kate's Jaffa Cakes payment. Oh dear, you're owning Jaffa Cakes.
I ate them all.
He's demanding this tequila, you know. Uh-oh. There we go. Jim saying there's loads to look forward to, the two ladies. Let's just get over the few weeks and keep the faith. That's it. Yeah. As George Michael says, you've got to have faith, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this situation would not affect us so bad if we do not have those tough fixtures coming up until January. I'm really struggling to see where any wins are due. I think we can start that and actually go back to that, because I've got something. I made a comment to you the other day, and I do think that the situation's been. I think it's because we've lost 2 in a row. I do think there's something in that, and the way that we've lost. I think that's probably made it seem a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then David here saying, I've heard different on the doji. The Italian national coach said he wasn't selected because of his previous injuries and had just been cautious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben saying, trying to manage 2 chats is a challenge. Well, you've got to learn. You've got to learn to be able to multitask, Ben. It'll do you well for the future, trust me. Nita saying senior players are in the team that couldn't hold on to the damn ball in the last minutes of the game for the draw. Yes, we know. Tequila saying she makes me pay for them nowadays, Ellie. I'm in my overdraft now because of her. No, you're in your overdraft, Tequila, because you've got an addiction. You keep trying to buy them off me in bulk.
Yeah.
It's your addiction to Jaffa Cakes. It's not my problem. I'm just a seller. Good evening to Darren West.
Nice.
We've got KR4CH, ladies Irish. I know, like
ladies are better than the Irish.
Yeah, the Irish. Yeah, I'm saying each there. I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah.
I'm not saying nothing.
I am. Come on, the ladies.
Oh, we love David and Jack.
Ladies.
We do, but you can't compete with the girls.
Big up the ladies.
That is true. Good evening, ladies. Evening, everyone in the chat. Good evening, Wayne Bonner. The other one that's addicted to the old Jaffa Cakes. He's got Jaffa Cake issues as well.
Yeah.
Battle lines have been drawn. No, nothing like that. Evening to Chem62. I hope you're okay. Keeping yourself busy, because I know you've been struggling for the last few days. I've got a super chat. Thank you so much to Moondog. Beautiful ladies. Thank you so much, Moondog. Hello to Charlie as well. Your absolute wonderful son. Bless him. I hope that you're both good, and I hope you're feeling better now as well after you had your little pop. Poor me getting insulted in Greek. Yeah, well, you're lucky I didn't say more, to be honest with you.
I called him a rap.
Oh,
where's Eddie gone? Oh, she's back.
Where
did you go, Ellie?
I'm in the deepest, darkest areas of England.
Robert Wilson saying, good evening, ladies and Jim. Good evening. Oh God, yeah. She's sending the the goons round to the collector. I don't shut up for a work warning. It's true. So I'm threatening him now. He's got to turn up to work, otherwise there's trouble.
Yeah.
Forget the upcoming fixtures. Wait until January when we're missing Basuma, Sarr, and Son during with long-term injuries to VDV and Madison. Well, actually, we are going to do a little bit on the injuries, but they should be back. I think that Madison and I think that he'll be back. I think he'll be back around then anyway. And same with VDV. So I think that they will be back, to be honest with you. And with Basuma and Sarr, it might only be a couple of games. I don't think it's going to be. It could be just a couple of games. So we've got to just think of the positive, right? We can't be worrying.
And to be fair,
and
Wayne.
I was going to say, to be fair, Basuma's been poor the last few games as well. So he's not playing anywhere near what he was playing.
No, he's dropped in.
Yeah, I think because of that. I think that yellow card. I think that yellow card was holding him back personally. Wayne was saying Jaffa Cakes Addicts Unite. And Adrian saying good evening to all.
Evening.
I quickly want to say a massive thank you to everybody who is a member of my channel, and obviously Kate, I'm sure, feels the same.
Yeah,
and so thank you to each and every one of you. It's really difficult when you're dual streaming to try and get that in, but we both are extremely grateful to everybody.
Yes, thank you.
You've got Leo saying, Ellie, glad to see you back in action. I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, and I've got a different hat on today for everybody. I'm hoping Jazz Fusion will come in to check out my hat.
Oh, yeah, big up. Jazz Fusion, he likes the hats, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So let's answer Kem while we're talking about the game. Ladies, where do you think it went wrong in the game Saturday? We were 1-0 up and then went completely downhill after that. So I'll go to you first, Ellie. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think we got a bit too complacent and we stopped doing what we're good at. Because the team that he put out are really good at stopping other teams from playing. Because that's what they're geared to do. Basuma, Sarr and Højbjerg in midfield. And we really lost it there because none of them performed. And that left the back exposed. And the back, we've got Dyer and Davis. Although Davis had a really, really good game, in the crucial moment, they both switched off. You know, and we let them into the game rather than us pushing to get another goal. We just let it go, and it was so disappointing, ladies, because it shouldn't have been like that. Because we should have put our foothold in the game and got a hold of the game. Because we had the players up front, and we weren't even finding them because that midfield engine, it all stopped there. You know, there was no creativity from the middle. So I was very disappointed, not because we lost in the whole performance more than we lost. Yeah.
How about you, Kate? What do you think? Where did it go wrong?
Do you know what? I don't know. It was like we scored early, and I think it was like they were in shock that they'd scored, and then took their foot off the gas a little bit and seemed to play a bit more defensive than we have done in previous games. I'm not even sure. It just seemed like we scored and it lost our confidence, which is bonkers. But then we went 1-0 up against Chelsea and then went crazy. So I can't put my finger on exactly what went wrong, except it was like they weren't expecting us to make such a good start, and it sort of knocked them for six and they didn't know what to do. That's how it felt. But obviously, that's obviously not what happened. But I've no idea. I mean, what do you make of it, Mia?
Joe, what I think that I know that everyone says we did in that last 10 minutes or 8 minutes, we absolutely lost it. Like we were defending quite well up until then, but I just felt like that everybody's going to say about that, and I completely understand it. But what I will say is that we had all that time to create and get another goal or two, and we didn't. We played like we would with Conte, where we'd score a goal and try and defend that lead, and that just doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work with the team, like with the defenders that we've got. So I don't know why we were trying to defend that lead. I felt like if we would have attacked them, I feel like that we could have got something. If we would have been a bit more attacking, because the best thing to do to defend is to attack. So I felt like that we didn't do enough of that. As much as I do blame the defence for that last 8 minutes that they let us down massively, I feel like the attack let us down massively, and not having Maddison to create and not being able to push up as far because we haven't got Van der Ven to run back really did affect us, like, because we couldn't play the way we wanted, but we didn't even really try. Let's be honest, when you look at the amount of times that we kind of had a half-ish chance, and that was it. Like, we never really had like when you put pressure on team, like you pressure them. It never looked like that. It looked like they did, because they had free kicks galore and they had corners galore, and they were just wasteful with them. You know, they were so wasteful with the opportunities that they had. But to get those, they had to create something. They had to do something, and we never did. Like, we just didn't create those chances, those opportunities, in my opinion.
Yeah. And do you know what else I wanted to say about the match, right? I don't think Wolves particularly played that well. Honestly, I think they were very wasteful. But the crucial time is when Dyer, he had the whole pitch to aim for. I did a rant about this, and Tyler on the Irish Hotspur speeded my voice up and started to laugh and sent me a message. But he had the whole pitch to aim for, and he kicks it off. They take a quick throw in. He's caught on the hop. He doesn't know what to do. They bend the ball round Dyer, and then Davis just hasn't got the pace to recover to block the shot. But that was a fantastic goal. We could have done something about it if we had Van der Ven, but he wasn't there. And poor Davis, he did try, the boy, but he just hasn't got the pace, right? And I just think they were very wasteful. So I don't think they played this brilliant game like everybody was hyping them up. They played much better than us, but we played very poor.
Yeah, I think they played better than we did. I just didn't. What I don't grasp is why Ange sort of said up that he never changed the way he plays, and it looked like we went from being attacking to going 1-0 up to being more defensive. And I don't. Jim doesn't agree with that, but that's how it looked to me. I don't know what you ladies think, and I was like, "What? Why has he changed it? It just looked like Conte ball all over again."
I think he just does that for the press, Kate, right? Because there's a lot of pressure on managers, and he does adapt. He does, but he doesn't want to say it because obviously his belief is to attack and to play with flair and to have creatives and to move the ball quickly, right? But there was no moving of the ball quickly in that game by us, apart from the goal. Where else did we move the ball quickly? We didn't, did we?
No.
So he knows he has to adapt because he hasn't got the players to play his type of football. But when he does get those players and when he's actually built the team that he wants to do, then he will. He won't manoeuvre from that style of play because he'll have the technicians to execute what he preaches.
My argument with that, though, Ellie, is he hasn't got the players to play a defensive type of play either, because we've seen that with Conte and Mourinho, with Dyer and Davis, they can't defend. So,
that's right.
You know, he was better off trying to go for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, because if he did go for it, we're going to get punished so hardly because those players can't recover. So if we're playing that high line, which he hardly played in that game, if you noticed, he didn't really play it because he dropped deeper because he knows those two players haven't got the pace. So when he goes towards the press, he wants his philosophy to come across like he doesn't want to sway from that. But really, he did. He did.
Yeah.
That's how I saw it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it was strange. What did you think, Mia? I mean, did you think he went more defensive?
Do you know what? I in a way, I kind of did, because of that midfield. I felt like where was the creativity really going to come from? But I also think he was damned if he does and damned if he didn't, because the thing is, if he didn't do that, could we have conceded more? Possibly. And I think that's what was in his mind, knowing that those centre backs aren't good and they're not the level. So he kind of puts extra kind of protection. And also, when you looked, Royale was coming into he was going inside as well. So he was creating even more midfielders. But those midfielders are all defensive. None of them are creative. Royale ain't creative. Javier isn't creative. I know he does. I know, Ellie, you say he has moments, but he hasn't got as much creativity. Sorry,
And so everybody expects this of Højbjerg. That is not his game. His game is to be a stopper. His game is to be competitive, to try and win the ball and pass it to someone who's got the creativity. But the problem with that, he didn't have anybody to pass to who had creativity, because Basuma's not that player, nor is Sarr. They're more engine players who drive with the ball, and they're like box to box. They haven't got the creativity that Maddison's got. So it's a shame, really. We needed a creative player in there, but Benny's not quite there yet, and he can provide that. But he's not like Maddison creative, is he? He's not in that mould. So we really need to get Maddison back, and quick.
Yeah, I heard something. Now, I'm not sure if this is true, but it could be that Maddison is back sooner than maybe what we thought, because I think what Gareth Southgate said, he spoke to him on the phone and he's saying it's not perhaps as bad as maybe first thought. So there is that possibility. But I feel like, Ellie, we do not think, though, we need to find another way when we haven't got Maddison, because I said originally, when it came to January, I wanted a centre-back and somebody to come in for Maddison, because I think they're both important areas that if we don't have them, we're stuffed. And it's become true, because now we haven't got Maddison, we haven't got anything else. And yes, once Bentancur is back, hopefully Benny can do a bit of that too. But we definitely need to have a bit more flexibility where we have got someone who's creative, because we can't just rely on Maddison the whole time, you know?
Yeah. What I would have done, Mia, I would have played, we've said it so many times, I would have played Kulu in that creative role, because he has got creativity, more so than Højbjerg, Basuma and Sarr. And then I would have pushed Porro up front. I would have played Davis on the left. I would have played Emerson on the right and had Porro as our winger, because we've seen it with Porro. He can bomb down that wing and put in some really nice, tasty crosses. And he did it again. He actually made the goal, right? Kulu flicked it to him, and then Porro swept it across and found Johnson. And Johnson was surrounded by 5 defenders, but we still scored. So that's what I would have done personally, because I just don't think Kulu's got cut out to be a winger. He just hasn't got enough pace, and he's wasted all that talent the boy's got at holding the ball up that you need in midfield. You need somebody to hold and have the vision to pick out a pass, and he will be able to do that. I just don't know why these top coaches are not seeing it. We've had 2 world-class managers come in, and not one of them's done it.
No, only Mason's the only.
Send them an email.
Yeah, Mason's the only manager that put Kulu in the middle as a number 10. He's the only one who done it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's madness, but.
And did you notice in the Chelsea game, he did switch to the middle, and he was very effective in that little cameo role. He was very effective. I just don't know why they don't do it, because on that wing, right, he tries to beat the player, and he beats him with the skill, because he's got a bit of something about him, Kulu. But then he can't get past him with the pace, and then the defender recovers, and invariably he has to beat the bloody defender again. And it's hard because you get tired as well. Oh, yeah. It's very frustrating, ladies. Very frustrating.
It is.
Joe, I think though, I do I know that nobody wants to criticise Postecoglou. We all love him, right? We do all love him. But I do think that I do trust what he does, and he sees more than what I do. I'm not a football manager, you know. I'm just a fan. But I do think he could have perhaps done something more. I feel like there was some way, possibly, to maybe circumvent that, what happened. You know, I feel like that surely we could have tried something. And it just feels like he isn't always taking maybe that risk of putting Kulu in the middle. It just feels like he doesn't want to do that. And I don't know why. Like, I just think we've seen him that in the middle and he is pretty good. So why not try that instead? Do you agree, Kate? Do you think he's a bit risk averse when it comes to maybe trying something a little bit different?
Yeah, it seems like it. It seems like he doesn't want to put the youth in either, which I thought that was Angie's big thing, was to put the youth in, but he doesn't seem to want to give him a game. But I did say on the terrace that bringing Alfie Devine back from loan is an option. Jim said that he doesn't think he's the answer, but he's another option while Madison's out. He's doing, he's a good creative player. But for the time being, I mean, for me, the Kelsos shouldn't be anywhere near the team. His attitude, you can see as soon as he comes on the pitch, he don't want to be there. So if he doesn't want to put Kulu in, what's he going to do? I mean, who have we got that can create? I don't think he's got an option but to put Kulu in. I think what Stell said was interesting about putting a 4 midfielder with Kulu in the midfield and just having Johnson and Son sort of more up front. But yeah, Madison is just the most unbelievable player, and we are really seeing how much we're going to miss him. And with the fixtures we've got coming up, he needs to sort out a solution quick from what he's got. So I think he needs to give the kids a chance, myself.
Yeah, we will get onto that in a bit, actually. I think we can talk about that. Yeah. But Yosiren has asked a question here. Does anyone attend the matches and get a sense of tactics being instructed by Ange and the coaching team in real time? Ali Gold reported that Ange was screaming at the team to get forward. Now, Ellie, you went to this game, so what do you think?
The Chelsea game I went to, yeah, I could hear.
So the Chelsea game, did you? Yeah. So do you think he did scream at them?
Oh, he did, 100%. He was screaming his bloody head off, right? Because he wanted them to push up and press the ball. When we went down to 9 men, he was even screaming even more because he wanted them to hold that line and to press. And we got 4 chances out of it, right? So it's not as if we gave up on the game. Like a lot of people were saying he was naive to do that. But I heard him shouting, and he shouts not just willy-nilly. He shouts when he sees something wrong, right? And he wants them to regroup and make sure that they're listening to what he's saying. And he did, because they were holding the line. Because remember, Chelsea didn't score that second goal until the 75th minute. And then they scored the other 2 in extra time. So we were still in the game with 9 men. Even with 10 men, you've got more chance with 10 men. But once you go down to 9, that is very difficult. And I heard him. He was very, very vocal, telling them to get forward. Because at the end of the day, we know this is an attacking manager. He likes to play football on the front foot. So I'm fully behind him. And I'm not going to criticise him for the tactics against Wolves, because at the end of the day, he was trying to get something out of that match, and we nearly pulled it off. I think it was 90+2 that they got their equaliser, and I think it was 90+6 or 7 that they got the winner. So it's not as if we gave them the game. They were attacking us, but we were coping.
Yeah, I know it's like not quite in order, but as we did sort of bring it up, I thought we'd go to this topic next. Are we holding back our academy players by not playing them and going back to the likes of Dyer and Davies? Now, obviously, Kate, you gave a little bit of your opinion. So you think that we should be playing more academy? Like, how many academy players would you say should come in?
Well, for me, obviously, we've got Villa next, then Man City. So I don't think we should probably throw him in for those games. But I think Wolves, he should have definitely tried Phillips out, see how he got on with perhaps Davis next to him. Donnelly was on the bench, never got any games. I don't know. I just think, we're flying. The under-21s are flying. There must be players that he sees that he could put in. I mean, Dyer and Davis, albeit Davis, I thought had a really reasonable game. I do think they were right to give him man of the match. Don't think anyone else stood out quite as much as he did. He had a good game. But as a rule, they don't keep up their consistency. And Dyer is just one of the worst players I've ever seen in my whole life. So with Ange being so passionate about bringing through the young players, I just thought Wolves was a great time to give them a little bit of a run out and see how they get on. Now you've got Villa next. I'm not sure if I'd chuck them in there, and I definitely wouldn't chuck them in against City. But like David said, in January, we're going to lose Sarr, Basuma and Son. They need to have had some match time, some minutes, so that they're ready to come in if needed, which they probably will be needed unless Levy spends a fortune in January or brings in some signings. So we've got to pick and choose the games, and I just think Wolves was a good chance to let him have a run around. But he obviously, I don't know if he didn't fancy him to have a go. I don't know. I just always, from watching Ange, from hearing about Ange, I've heard that his philosophy is always about bringing the young players through. And so far, not really seen it.
No.
Yeah, Joe, what I will say is that there's a big step from the youth to the men's team. And that's why, in general, you send players out on loan to get that experience. Probably the only one I would say would be Phillips, because I think that he has played a bit of first team football, men's, although it isn't a lot. I think he's probably the one that I would say is near to more, like, closer to it, you know. I think that's probably where I would stand when it comes to our youth players, because I think if Ange thinks they're ready, I think he'll play them. He did with Carter Vickers. He played Carter Vickers in Scotland because he thought he was ready. So I think that if they are ready, he will do so. But I think that maybe that is that big step up, and Ange isn't seeing enough from them when he does see them, because, you know, he obviously watches them train and stuff. What do you think, Ellie?
Yeah, I personally think he should have let them play, because when you think about it, we've seen what Dyer does. We see what mistakes he's made, what he brings to our team. You know, we know what to expect with him. So we're not surprised at the end of the match what we've seen, because we've seen it all before. And it's really depressing as a Spurs fan to go through that, when you can have a youngster, a promising youngster, like, he can go in and make a mark for himself. All right. I don't buy this thing that they're not ready, because, like, a lot of players, when you first play them, look at Harry Kane, for example. I know he went on lots of loans, right? But he was thrown in at the deep end, right, on one match.
Yeah.
And then, you know, he excelled and he scored, right? So I think, me personally, I would have played Alfie Dorrington, because I've watched him. And I think he's a step above even Ashley Phillips. That's just my own personal opinion. The boy is awesome. He's fast. He anticipates well. His recovery's just like Van der Ven's. He's lightning, right? And he's got long legs like Van der Ven as well. And he's strong. He's built like a man, right? So I would have played him over Ashley Phillips, because although Ashley Phillips is a youngster as well, I just like our own academy players to get ahead of him. Because when you think about it, if you're an academy player and you've been playing since you were 8, 9 years old, and you've come through the ranks, and then you see the club buy an 18-year-old and you put him in front of you when you're at the same level as him, in my opinion, he's better, right? And he's got a higher ceiling as well, right? Because he anticipates really, really well, right? So I think he should have given him a run out. I just, and as for calling Alfie Divine, I don't know what the rules are on that, whether we're allowed to bring him back or not.
So what do you think about what Paul's saying here? I think Andrew will be under a lot less pressure playing some of the youth. He almost takes the pressure off, and we can see as a fan base what the youth is. See, I don't agree with that. I think that would be like, if we don't get, like, a lot of fans' expectations went up a lot. See me, my expectations have stayed the same the whole way through. 6th, 7th for me, and us improving as a team. And that's what I expected from this season. But I think if we start playing youth players and we start doing poorly and we go all the way down that table, you're telling me that fans aren't going to turn on these youngsters they will turn on them. I just don't like. I understand what you're saying, Ellie. You've seen them play youth games, but
it's only one, Mia. I'm not saying
but
2 or 3 youngsters. Only one.
I know, but I'm trying to say, like, the thing is that the fact is that we don't see them obviously in training what Ange sees. I honestly think that if they were ready, he would play them. I really do. I don't think that he would let them just sit there and not get time. And you say about Harry Kane, he got first team experience in all of those times he went on loan. He played different. So that's completely different. A youth player that's never played a man's game. Look how Brian Hill is, right? Look at Brian Hill. I know it's a completely different thing, but he isn't a player that's strong. That, you know, he's a good little tricky player, but he playing a man's team is a lot different. If he played in our under 21s, I'm sure he'd be fine. He'll probably get on fantastic because it's not the man's game. The man's game is a very different step up. Yeah, and that's.
What I'll do to counter that, I'm not saying you're wrong, Mia.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
There's no wrong or right here, but I would say fortune favours the brave, right? So if he played Dorrington and gave him his chance and he failed, that could backfire. I can understand that. And then the fans would say, well, why did he play the youngster? You know, but that could backfire on the manager because the fans are very fickle. We are, right? But on the other side, on the flip side, if he gave him his chance and he excelled, right, which I personally think he would, because he's a very, very good player, and that yes, the step up is big, but you never learn until you're given that opportunity. Every player's gone through it, right? Every player's gone through it where they've come from the youth, right? Not everybody's gone out on loan. Not everybody's had that opportunity until they're given their first bite of the cherry. It's how you handle it from then. You know, if you're strong enough, not just physically, it's a mental thing as well, Mia, isn't it? To step up to the man's game, right? Because the physicality, these boys can cope with it. I think the mental side of it and the pressure, it's like a pressure cooker, especially when you're playing at White Hart Lane and all eyes are on you, right? You've got to handle that pressure. And every little thing you do is going to get scrutinised, isn't it? Because you're a newbie. Yeah, so I understand it from your point of view as well.
These next 3 comments are interesting, so let's get through these ones. Kem's saying he did use the youth at Celtic and he'll use them when he thinks they're ready. He sees them on the training pitch, so he will know when they're ready. I concur with that.
We can't judge because we don't see them. We can see them play, but we don't see them train.
No, that's it. Adrian saying Donnelly 6 goals, 11 assists, teenage prodigy. Mikey Moore has mental stats, 17 goals in 14 games with 11 assists. Yeah, but Adrian, that's in the youth team. Like that's really, that's amazing for our youth, right? Put them in a man's team, a lower down league, and then see what happens. Because I can guarantee their stats will not be like that. Because playing in a youth team is a completely different thing. And then David Clark said, I've watched the academy games, and although the under 18s, under 21s are flying, defensively, they even look wide open at the back, and it's only bad finishing by opponents and good goalkeeping that's kept us out. So that's the thing, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. Like, you've got to understand, I think, that when I say it isn't because I'm criticising our players. I love our under 21s and our under 18s, how well they're doing. It's fantastic. But it is a big difference. And if that's how it is when they're playing a youth game, like, you really think that in a game against, like, even an opponent in a lower team, you think that they're not going to struggle? Of course they're going to struggle. That's why they need to go out and get first team experience, because that experience teaches them a heck of a lot, you know? What do you think, Kate?
Well, what I was going to say, what I will say is that comment about the pressure takes the pressure off Ange. For me, I kind of do agree with that to an extent, because I think I have less respect for Ange if he plays the likes of Dyer and Davis than if he just took a chance and played Phillips and Dorrington or Donnelly or Mikey Moore or whoever, because I just think, yeah, all right, Jim. Our one-arm wonder. I think we've seen managers try and rinse these players and get nothing out of them. So for me, Angie's flogging a dead horse playing these players. It just bores me, and I think, oh, he's just like all the others. He's just playing the same crap. You know what I mean? I want a manager to take a chance. And the thing was, the excuse was, oh, he can't take a chance. We're sitting top of the league, right? Well, we're not top of the league anymore. No one's expecting us to win the league. Even Jim and Coover aren't expecting us to win the league anymore.
No.
So, you know, for me, I'd rather see a manager go for it. It's a project. We all know it's a project. It's a building process. The thought of seeing Dyer and Davis, I know that Romero's back in a couple of games, but oh my God, it makes me want to shoot myself. I'm not going to lie, because it's just the same tripe we've watched for year in, year out. I mean, like Brian Clough said, if they're good enough, they're old enough, and that's how I see it.
I say hide all the guns. Do you know what though? Adding to that point, right? So we've got Dane Scarlett at Ipswich. He doesn't get a look in.
Yeah.
So there must be something wrong there, because if you think if he's the best we've got from our academy in terms of striking, and he's not getting a look in, and then we've got Alfie Devine. He's only started 3 games, I think. This is his 3rd game that he started, and he's played 80, 83, and the 90 minutes, and all the other games he's been a sub.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's supposed to be the starlet, isn't he? Alfie Devine, and he's playing in League One. So we need these players. Obviously, I'm with Kate still. I'm still with Kate because we've got nothing to lose this season. It's a building project. And we want to see these players so we can assess them in comparison with Dyer and Davis. And if they're worse, we're going to see it. But if we can see some potential there, the fans will jump on the bandwagon and they'll encourage those young boys to go forward. And if they stay in the team as well, we will be fully behind them, you know. Look, they are going to make mistakes because they're youngsters, right? But I'd rather them learn by making their mistakes than have Dyer watching him all these years, making all these similar mistakes, season after season. It's very
but like I say, Ellie, do you know what, right? It's like the rock and the hard place, right? I get it, because playing Dyer is a disaster. It is literally dire. But if you put the youth in and they start conceding goals, they're going to have their confidence down. The team's going to suffer. So then we could go down, like I say, dropping further and further down the league. And that's going to put pressure on them as players too. They're going to feel like loads of pressure. And being young, coping with that is a lot harder. Back in the day, it's a bit different. Even what Alex Ferguson did, he played these youth, but he had older players around them, a lot of much more experienced older players. It's very naive to try and chuck a lot of youth in. I know you're just saying one, but I'm just saying even that one that can make a difference, because defenders tend to mature a bit later as well. They defend, like Vicky van der Ven is an exception to the rule, but in general, they when they get older, they start to get better and more mature to read the game better. To chuck in a youngster,
Ledley coming from Mia.
Ledley King made his debut at 18 and a half, 19, old ledders, and he didn't do bad.
Yeah, I guess, but I just think that they're more exceptions than rules, Kate, because if you look in general, they normally start down. At that time, when Ledley started, I don't think there was as much pressure on Tottenham as there is now. I think there's more pressure because back then we weren't the team that we are now, if that makes sense, where we are in the league, the pressure to get into Champions League or Europe. I feel like there's more pressure now. If we finish 14th now, our fans are going to have the biggest meltdown, or 10th, we're going to have a meltdown.
I know.
So that's, that's the thing. Well, when we finished that places before, we didn't have a meltdown. We just said, we're just Tottenham, aren't we? We still go, we're Tottenham supporters. That's the attitude has changed, I think, a lot from when I was young, when you were young, and when Ellie was young. Surely, I do think that. So I think it's a different pressure now than what it was back then.
There's more money in the game now. There's more prize money to be won. So everybody's scouring for that top 5 now because they've extended the Champions League to the 5th place. So everybody wants to get into that top 5. and they'll fight tooth and nail. And if the risk taking is less, it is, because you see it in other teams as well. They don't blood their youngsters. Where do Man United play youngsters? They're not bringing any youngsters through, are they? Liverpool aren't.
The thing is, though, that whole if we drop down to 14th, blah blah blah, that's a reflection on the fan base, though, because you look at Chelsea, they're sitting in 10th place, right? And yes, there are some fans, as we know, that are having absolute meltdowns, but there was other fans. Arsenal had to cope with it as well. They dropped out because it was a project, and I think this is part of the pain of a project. It is going to be painful because we're going to have to make sacrifices where we see things like the young players come through. And if that means that we drop out of Europe, yeah, we've had a great start, but this is stage one. And if people aren't ready for it to be a project, then, you know, they're being naive, and it'll just end up with another manager getting sacked and us going round in the same circle that we go round in every single time. Yeah,
and Chelsea, they're an exception to the rule, because they've gone and bought all youngsters.
Yeah.
They haven't bought experience. So you see on the football terrace, that Minerals, he was saying we need to buy experience to go in with the youngsters so they can guide them. They have got some experienced players, but not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
no, I do get it.
Project, aren't they, as well? We're on a different project to them.
Yeah. As I said, Robert, when you look at who was in that team with them, it weren't all just youngsters. It weren't, because when David first started, there's still Eric Cantona was there when he was 21. I think he was 21 or something like that. David, when he first played
the goalkeeper.
There was Peter Schmeichel. There was older heads there for sure. Roy Keane was around. So I think that you've got to understand it wasn't just 11 like youngsters at all with them. It was there were older heads around 100%. And also when you look at Arsenal, the reason that Arsenal sort of struggled at times, and it isn't just me being my bias because I absolutely despise them, but if you look that they're having just younger players kind of make the difference to them winning, because when you look at the experience of Man City, they've got that experience, and because they've got those older heads, they've got a few older heads, but not quite, if that makes sense. I think that's what can sometimes get you over the line, is having those a little bit more of an experienced player. It isn't, youth's all well and good, but you have to have some of that experience. It's like life experience. We all know that as you get older, you get more experience, right? You learn, you live, because you've lived a longer time, you've learned.
And also Mia, right? When Arsenal bottled it, because they did bottle it, their goalie's very young. He came from the lower leagues as well, and he's very young. And the spine of their team, they had Saliba, he's young, right? The spine of their team is very young, and they didn't have the experience. Whereas Man City, they were already there. They were the finished article. That's why they got over the line. Because Arsenal played some fabulous football. We can't deny that. They were playing, but they just didn't have that experience to push them over. They should have really strengthened in that January and bought themselves a really experienced striker. And then they would have given themselves a better chance. But I'm glad they didn't.
Adrian's correcting you here, saying Ellie, Devine scored an overhead kick for Port Vale and the winner in another game for them.
Yeah, he did. I'm not saying that he didn't play well. I'm just saying the minutes he got, Adrian. He hasn't got as many minutes as we were expecting him to get. Obviously, he's a fabulous player, and he will score goals like that.
I'm sure Jim said to me today that there's rumours of us wanting to recall Spence back. So you can call your players back from being on loan as long as it's like by mutual agreement. So, I mean, to me, Alfred Devine got to be worth a chance. He's better than Lo Celso, in my opinion, because at least he'll want to be there.
Yeah. And like Steve Perryman says, you can't beat a youngster who's coming through and wants to prove himself as well. You know? While we're in this building period, we might as well.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Give the better two the chance.
I understand your point, Jose. Germany young players are given an opportunity, hence why they take some of our league's greatest prospects to Germany. Listen, some of the players that come from Germany, they're given in a lower, they come from maybe like we did with Van der Ven, right? But you've got to understand that the Premier, when they come to the Prem, they've got to be very good to be in the Prem. Like if you look at some of their youngsters, they wouldn't make it in the Prem. Like, I think that you've got to be balanced about it. I'm not saying that Germany's not a decent league, but I think that you've got to be balanced. That some of that, they play their youth, but I think that their teams aren't probably a lot of the teams that do give youth charge. They haven't got as much pressure. Like the pressure.
It's a very dominated league, isn't it? It's dominated by Bayern Munich mainly.
Yeah.
80-something percent, 86, 87% times they've won the league. So that's domination in my book.
We are a young team with our academy players. We've got Adoji's 20, Sars 20, Van der Ven's 22, Johnson's 22, Kulu 23, and Velez is 20. So we have got young players. We don't play, but we have got young players, and that's hence why I'm saying that we don't really want to be chucking in. They've all got first team experience. Udoji, he stayed at Udinese for longer, didn't he? So East had more experience by the time he came to us. That's the difference, is the experience.
I think Adrian's saying, because we've got a young side already, it doesn't make much difference if we had another one, possibly. Two. It depends where you put them.
Yeah, I think it does. It depends where they are.
Listen, when Van der Ven comes back, we won't need those youngsters, but at the moment, we can use them. Just one of them, either Phillips or Dorrington. Give him a chance.
I agree with everything Philly says here.
That's fair enough.
In regards to just wants to see green shoots of something new. Yeah, me too. I want to see a brave manager that tries something different.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
But it is only 12 games.
Yeah.
You know, and we have lost both Romero and Van der Ven at the same time. Maybe if we'd only lost one, he might have tried Phillips because he trusts Van der Ven or Romero to hold them up, if you like. But we'll see. We'll see.
Should we go to the next subject, ladies, just because of time? Obviously, because we can chat and chat and chat, can't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah, of course we can.
Honestly, we'd be here for like 4 hours, I swear. We could do the likes of Dyer, Davies, Lo Celso, etc. need to go in January, or realistically, will it be the summer when we see them depart? So what do you think, Kate? Will it be summertime, or do you think January is realistic?
No, I think it'll be summer. I think ideally I'd love to see Dyer go in January. But he's going to hold out to go on a free and get his signing on fee. I'm sure of it. I think we need Davis. I don't think we can afford to let him go. Lo Celso, I'd let him go whenever we can get rid of him. But I just don't see us doing that much business in January at all. Romano came out tonight, I think, and said something about Spurs have said they're happy with the balance of the squad, which sends shivers down my spine because that says we're not going to be spending any money. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to see 3 players in January and a few out, but I don't see it. I think maybe we might get 1 or 2 in, but probably none out. It'll all happen in the summer, hopefully, when we get the likes of Endon Bele come back knocking at the door with his big mac and chips.
Oh, don't. I might actually take him up on the offer, though. I've not had chips and burger for ages. Ellie.
I'm waiting for the vouchers. I can give him a few vouchers. No, to be serious, right, I'd like to see Dyer go 100%. I don't want him at our club. He's a liability. We saw he had the whole pitch to aim for and he kicks the ball out and then they score from the throw-in. So, no, I want to see him out. But I think Davis, we can keep him as a squad player. That makes sense. Lo Celso, he doesn't want to be there. Well, probably, I don't think we're going to lose Højbjerg. I just don't think Ange will let him go, because if he gets injuries in midfield, bearing in mind that Bentancur hasn't got his match fitness yet, So, and then Madders is out till January. I don't think he's going to let him go. But I'd like to see Leselto go as well, because his attitude stinks. You saw it when Højbjerg passed him the ball. He was half asleep.
Thing is with,
he loses the ball.
Thing is with Højbjerg, he is a good squad player if you want to tighten up the defence. But if we can get rid of him for money and get in the more attacking midfielder,
I agree with you. We could
it'd
get
be
30 mil
lovely.
for him, 25, 30 mil for him. It makes sense, but I just don't think the club are going to let him go because of that Maddison injury and Bentancur's situation. And then we've got young Star, right? He's a fantastic prospect and he's a brilliant player. Don't get me wrong. But when you need to shore up the game, you need your experienced players to come on. And like we can start with him because he is a good player. I don't care about whatever any bad press that he's getting lately, you know, and our fans turning against him because he hasn't put that much wrong, sir. I've seen a lot of good from him, yeah, and a lot of hard graft that he puts in because some players they go missing. I've not seen him go missing much. You know, in matches, you always notice he's there. Yeah, there's not many games where you can see, oh, where's Sar? Where's Sar? You know, so I want to nurture the boy. He'll get better and better with years to come because he's only 21 or 20, isn't he? So he's still very, very young. And I know you like him as well, Mia. So I'm rooting for the boy because I like him.
Yeah, me too. I am as well. I think that he's definitely got a lot to learn, but I feel like he can. I think he's got good potential. And I think, I really do like him as a player. For me, I think that personally that Dyer could possibly go, I think we'll probably more likely get Højbjerg if he wants to go, because I think he does. If he does want to go and get money for him, I think that's more likely. And so if that happens, I think then we'd have to get someone else in. But the thing about it is we have technically got quite a lot of midfielders, because if you think about it, we've got when Maddison comes back, we've got Maddison. We have got, I know people don't like him, but we've got Skip, we've got Bentancur. So I wonder, and the Celso. So I'm just wondering if they would really do that. I wonder if they're not going to invest it maybe somewhere else if we did get rid of Højbjerg. I don't know. I'm just saying. But we are looking at players. The players that we've looked at, a lot of them are multifaceted. So they can play in different positions. So that could also help, because if we have a winger that we could play in different positions, they could also play all the way across the three. That means Kulu could go in the position of Maddison. So there is a way for us to switch around and not necessarily replace Højbjerg, because we could do it in another kind of way with Kulu in the middle. So I think that is a possibility. I really do. I'd like Guy to go. If he does go, what the rumour is him going to Bayern Munich? That would be a madness for him to go to Bayern Munich. Like, what the hell?
I don't think so. Can you really believe those stories? I don't.
No. Hello to my brother. Hope you're good.
Jack.
But I don't believe them, no. But it's been rumoured, so let's wait and see, I guess. But I do think that we need to get some of these players gone, but I think it's going to be a summer thing. I think summer is going to be huge. I think summer's going to be massive for us, in my opinion. Getting players out. And getting some of these players in that Ange actually wants, I think is going to be very, very important.
I want us in the summer to buy more established players, you know, either the finished article or nearly the finished article, because we've already got the youngsters in. Yeah, we've already bought lots of youngsters. So I'd like us to top that up in the summer with a lot of experience to take us through. Because if it's going to be a project, we need that strength in depth with the experienced players as well.
But how old do you think? Because I don't think Ange will go for them if they're too old.
I think he just like 25, 26.
Okay, just a reminder, guys, if you're over on my channel, please make sure you do sub to Kate. And I put her link, and also I put the link for mine in Kate's chat. So please make sure you go over and sub to us both, because it really helps having those subs 100%. So yeah, sorry, Ellie.
No, I was just saying 25, 26, you can pick up a lot of players that have played in their leagues and got really good experience behind them, you know, and then by the time we're a finished project, say most players, they mature about 27, 28, their peak, all right? So then by the end of Angie's tenure, we should have won something by then. If we haven't, I'm going to be so disappointed, because this 4-year project, we have to yield something out of it, don't we, ladies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in 4 years' time and we haven't won anything again.
No, I get it. But Joe, the only thing I would say is that it's really difficult, because if we get into a final and we lose on penalties, like it's stuff like that, that's like things that we don't know what might happen. Yeah, like it's not as simple as you get into a final and you're going to win it. Like it's no guarantee. So I do think that's something people do need to keep in mind.
Hopefully we'll win the penalty shootout this time, because we lost to Man United, didn't we? Like that.
Jose, I don't think they're out for 3 months, because if you go 3 months from when they actually got injured, it'd be more, because people count months really weird for me. Like 3 months wouldn't be, it would be like if he got it was now November, so it'd be December, January, February. That'd be February, 3 months. 3 months is February, because people count in 3 months and saying it's late, it's January, but it's not. But apparently this is the list of the injuries. So as you can see, Richarlison will be back in December. We've got Solomon coming back in January. We've got Van der Ven and Maddison all look like they're going to be due back in January. So I think that's good news, right, ladies? By the looks, if this 100%. Goes according to what's been said.
Yeah, this is that's when they said that they're hoping they'll be reassessed. Yeah. I mean, I expect Richarlison to be back in December, definitely. I think Solomon will be back for definite. And I don't know about Van der Ven. His looks like it could be a little bit longer, but I'm hoping and praying to the football gods that Madders is back around that sort of time. That's FA Cup time, I believe.
Yeah.
As well.
You know what's good, ladies, as well, is because we've got 2 international breaks. We've got one starting now, and then there's one again in, I think it's end of December, January. So that's a 2
I thought the next one was March,
break. No? I think it's in January. I think.
Is that not just a winter break? Because we've got a winter break where all the players get. Yeah.
I know there's a break of 2 weeks. Yeah. So that's good in a way, because that allows those players, if they're on the fringe of coming back, they can get their fitness up, because remember they would have been out for a long time, so their match fitness is going to drop. So we'll need them to be playing a few matches before we go into the big ones towards the end of the season, like February, March. If we're still in the mix, you never know. Football's a funny old game. If we're still there and we're still challenging, right? I don't see it myself, but if we are, then we'll need those better players to be available and match fit.
Yeah. Great.
The question here from Mark is saying, just a question, do you think Spurs will get top 4? Now, me, I've always said 7th, and I've not changed my stance there, Mark. I don't want to say we're going to get top 4, because I honestly can't. I just don't think we are. I think there's going to be teams that are going to end up coming out stronger, and we are going to have these blips. So for me, I don't want to be negative, but I think 5th will be what I would say will be the highest I can see us getting personally. What do you think, Kate?
Yeah, I don't think we'll get top 4, not now. I think if we'd have carried on the way we were going and with all the players we had a massive chance. But, you know, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, I think they're 3 bankers to get in the top 4. Then you've got the likes of Villa, Newcastle. I know that they've got a bit of an injury crisis at the minute. Chelsea are only going to get better. For me, I think it's a step too far this season. But I said any kind of Europe and I'll be happy, and I do stand by that. It'll be disappointing because of how we started, but it was only a 10-game lead, you know. So, like I say, if we can get into any European competition, I'll be well happy with that.
Yeah, Mark's also saying, for me, Ellie, I don't see Spurs winning anything. Sorry, but this club cannot cope with pressure. I hope to be proved wrong. Joe, the one thing I will say, Mark, is there's teams out there who haven't won stuff for years and then they do. I think that to say that they're never, ever going to win again, ever, in my lifetime, is just, I don't know. I just don't believe that. I think that teams do it. You think Leicester, do you think they thought they were going to win anything? They won the FA Cup and they won the league. So I just think that you can't say that just because a team can't cope with pressure that they're never, ever going to get past that. I don't know. Am I wrong, Ellie, in what I'm trying to say?
We've got a totally different team. I mean, you're talking about teams of past. Yeah, we didn't cope with pressure. But this is a totally different team. We've got new players that have come into the side that have hit the ground running. And they show that they can handle the pressure because they were top of the league until we got that mishap of a game that ruined most. It's going to ruin our season, really. That Chelsea game has put the dampers on it, right? But we can come back, and I personally think we can make top four, but a lot has to go right for us from now on, right? So we have to get our players back from injury playing the way they did. Yeah, so we can do it, but I think we're going to finish fifth. That's where I think we're the highest we can finish. I know we could do it, but I think fifth is more realistic because there's 4 teams better than us. That's how I see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to go
more
into
equipped,
the next.
I mean, that's what I mean. More equipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep getting your comments in, guys. Make sure you are smashing that like button too. So, are Spurs fans too reactionary? Because we've been speaking about, obviously, expectations and what's been going on. And what I said earlier, Kate, obviously, so if we're going to bring up the subject, is that for me, I just wonder if we would have lost a game earlier on and then lost against Chelsea and lost some players and, you know, then we would have, we've been in a bad situation. But would fans have been as reactionary if we would have lost the games earlier on in the season? Because we all expected that to happen. And it just feels like because we went on that 10-game run, that the fans went, zoom, and then went and crashed back down again. And I feel like that then there's no balance. I just felt, well, what did you, I kind of expected it. But I think that fans just went a bit too crazy. But if we would have lost them 5 games in, I think that the fans maybe wouldn't have been as reactionary. I personally think because they wouldn't have had their expectation up so high. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm quite reactionary in the sense that I was sort of on Monday on my show. I was so doom and gloom and a bit like, oh, I don't know what to say.
No,
everything's awful.
Jimbo had to come in and save the day.
Yeah, and Jimbo, on the other hand, is reactionary where we win all them 10 games and we're winning the league and doing the double. So, but for me, yes, I think we're the most reactionary fan base on the planet. I know all football fans are reactionary, but you either get the, yes, we're winning the league, Tottenham are back, or you get the, oh my God, this is just going to be the worst season ever. Angie's going to be sacked and we're going to end up mid-table, blah, blah, blah. I think it's the nature of the beast, and that's where the emotions and feelings come into it because you get swept up in it all. I mean, I was so downbeat about it on Monday because it was the fact that we can't hold on to a lead and we let it slip in the 92nd and 97th minute to lose the game. That is so Spursy. And, you know, everyone was saying, oh, pretty soon Spursy will mean grabbing a last-minute winner and it'll mean this underhand. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, nothing's changed. So, yeah, I do think we're a reactionary fan base. What worries me is if we do go on a bit of a bad run, that the reactionary fan base turns on the manager. That's what concerns me because that always seems to happen. And I do think that this guy is going to be good for the club, but I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I'm not going to lie.
Oh,
sorry, Ellie.
Right, no, I think, of course, they are reactionary, but we have got balanced fans as well. You watch all the YouTubers; a lot of them are reactionary, and they feed off it as well, some of them. But in general, I think I wouldn't say we're reactionary. I say we're fickle.
Yeah.
You know, we really are fickle. We just big our team up too much to the point where we get it in our heads that we're going to do this, that, and the other. And then when we don't do it, it's a downer, isn't it? So what I do, I always have a balanced view, right? Doesn't mean I don't want us to win the league. Of course I want us to win the league, and I want us to win every trophy that's ever existed. But whether we're going to do that, that's another question. And we haven't done it for 15 years. We haven't won a trophy. So I think sometimes the fans have got to just calm down, right? Because they put too much pressure on the team as well, and on themselves. Because if you're putting yourself up on a pedestal and then you don't reach that pedestal, then you come crashing down. It's like your heart sinks. I'd rather go in like you two as well, go in with a measured view that we could make 5th, 6th or 7th. And then if we do better, that's a bonus in my book. If we finish top 4 or even 2nd or 3rd, that would be incredible, you know. But what I would like to see from our fans is a bit more, you know, when they're assessing things, just to be calmer. They're too out there, some of them. They're just too out there, and it gets on your nerves because you're thinking, just shut up and calm down.
But
you know what I mean? Just shut up. I went on the rant today as well.
Do you know what, Ellie? As much as I do get it, but to me, I live and let live, right? If people want to, I think, right, for me, I'm the fan that I am. I'm a balanced person. That's just naturally who I am anyway, as a person. I'm a very balanced, logical, try and think outside the box kind of person. Now, if somebody, say like a Jimbo, because we all love Jimbo, if he wants to go away with the fairies, do you know what? I'm happy for him. I'm like, listen, you chat your chat, yeah? I'm happy for you. I'm happy. Because if you're happy, that makes me happy. Seeing big smiles on faces makes me happy. And he said, if I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up. I'm sure he doesn't mind me speaking about him. I won't speak just about anybody, because obviously I know Jimbo. So. But he said, I'll hold my hands up and say, listen, I was wrong. And he did. He said, listen, I don't now think we're going to win the league. I think that now things have changed and adjusted. And I'm like, cool, Jimbo, that's good with me. Like, I'm never going to, like, I just think live and let live. Like, I'm not worried about what other people and other fans say. I think I concentrate on what I think, what the people I talk to, people in my chat, what they're saying to me, have a good conversation with them. But I don't really get worried. Like, I suppose me not being on Twitter helps, or X as it's now called, because I think I'm not on there, so I don't deal with all that nonsense. And I think a lot of the time it's the social media aspect that makes fans either look like majorly reactionary. But if you go to the actual games like you do, Ellie, I'm sure that the fans are, I think fans are a little bit more maybe level-headed than they come across because of social media. Because I do think social media aspect is something to do with this whole reactionary thing, you know? I don't know what you think, because you go to games, obviously.
Fans inside the stadium, they're quite level-headed, because they talk about the past a lot as well, and they see something different in this team, you know, and they do praise them a lot more than what Conte's team was getting and what Mourinho's team was getting and what Nuno's team was getting, and even more so than Poch's team at times, because they really do see where Ange Postecoglou is trying to make these changes, right? And they're on board with it. You know, all the people in my section, they're crazy nutters. They've broken my foot twice from being like celebrating. So they want the team to do well, and they'll make themselves really vocal in support of the team. So we have got very, very good fans as well. And it doesn't matter if you think we're going to finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd or 4th. Like you, Mia, if they want to think that, that's their own personal view. We can't attack them for that, because they want the team to do well as the person who wants them to finish 6th, 7th, or you know, being more realistic, 5th, 6th, or 7th, you know. Because we finished 8th last year, and that was a bad season for us because we finished in Europe. I think, is it 15 times out of 17 years we finished in Europe, something like that.
Yeah.
So, look, the fans' expectations definitely gone up, hasn't it? We've noticed that, and people are getting excited about what they're seeing. Yeah, but not all of the football has been fabulous, has it? Not all of the time. But there's been snippets of our football that you can take out and think, well, that was good, So we've got to give praise where praise is due. And like you said, Mia, let them run away with the fairies. It makes them happy, doesn't it?
The thing is, if someone says to me, oh, well, fans believe this, I say, listen, that's them, that's not me. I've said 6th and 7th for ages now, and I have not changed my stance at all, not one bit. So, and Leo makes a good point here. How do you know these fans on social media are Spurs fans? They could be gooners. People do change their avatars and start pretending that they're Tottenham fans. People do it all the time. Like, it's just really strange behaviour that
they do
happens on social media. Let's be honest. We have got a star in the house. We've got football Terry's. We've got Terry in the house.
Woo!
Big up to Terry.
Come on.
See how it's really done.
That's how he's so bored that he's coming to watch us.
Because we're the excitement of YouTube, aren't we? Come on.
Obviously.
Pick ourselves up.
Mark saying, I agree, Mia. When you speak to people in person, you get more balance and clarity. None of those points scoring. Yeah, I think that's what social media is, isn't it? It's all like point scoring. People want to get one up and say, you're in the mud. And I'm like, oh, right, okay. That's why I'm not on social. That's why I don't do social media. I can't be dealing with it. It's just too much. I was on it for
just go
a while.
On and wind up when they do that. If you go on and wind up and wind them up, they don't like it. You've got to hit them with the same things they're hitting you with.
Oh God, yeah. Listen, I give it when it comes to rival fans. I give it big time. If I have to, I get really, really gobby. But when it comes to me talking to people like other Spurs fans, I'm more balanced because I don't feel like I defend myself. It's a bit like defending your child. You feel like you want to kind of like really go out there and make sure you defend them. But when it's like speaking to other Spurs fans, you're like, okay, yeah, we can admit we're not that great, we haven't been that great or whatever. So I think it's different. So the next thing we're going to talk about is, me and you disagree on this, Kate. So is Ange a yes man? So I want to know what Ellie thinks about this, because me and Kate disagree. So what do you think?
I wouldn't say he's a yes man, but he has to toe some of the club's line. He has to, because he is an employee, and sometimes he can't step out of line too much, right? Because otherwise what he's doing is shooting himself in the foot and he'll get fired, right? So he has to toe the line. But I think he's his own man, right? He knows what he wants from the club and he knows how to get it because he's done it before. He's not new to the game. He's 58 years old. He's come into this Premier League with a lot of people looking at him and they're starting to judge him more so than anywhere else that he's been. So I think he's an honest man, not a yes man. That's how I see him. He really speaks from his heart and he talks a lot of sense and he's a real football man. And I don't think he's going to take any shit. If he feels that something's wrong, he'll voice his opinion, but he'll do it under closed doors. He won't go and mouth it off to the media like a lot of managers do, or throw players under the bus or do this. But I just think there are certain times where he has to, toe the club's line, but not in the sense that it takes away from what he's trying to achieve at the club, right? Because at the end of the day, he wants to be a winner at our club because he's won everywhere else he's been. And he's got more pressure under his skin now to produce. Because, right, people will say, no, he hasn't got pressure because not everybody's expecting. But the Spurs fans, we've been raised now because we've been top of the league. The first 10 games, we've been top of the league, winning 8 and drawing 2. Now now the ship's sort of steadied. We've lost 2 games on the bounce, right? So the pressure is on him more now, I think. So, no, I just don't think he's one of these men who's going to say yes to everything. No, I don't see Ange Postecoglou like that.
See, I agree with you, Ellie, and I think you put that very well, because that's sort of how I think about him. I think that, yes, he obviously does have the toe line, of course, but I don't think, when you watched him in previous managerial jobs, he isn't somebody who doesn't speak his mind, or like, see, when he says about the players, because I think this is what made you disagree with Kate, is the players. Now, I think that he did get players he wanted. He might have got players he wanted, but I think that he has to agree to the players. Like, so I might want a Ferrari, but if I can't afford the Ferrari and I end up getting some other car, and I'm like, okay, that car, I want that car, that's still a nice car. That doesn't mean that I didn't want that other car, right? It just meant I couldn't get the Ferrari. I hope that analogy comes across well, but yeah, that's how I see it. So I think that's what's happened with Ange. I don't think that he's a kind of manager to accept a player if he really doesn't believe that he'll be good for the team. I can't see it personally from what he's been like in the past. So I don't think he's no yes man, but I do think, like Ellie says, he has to toe a line. He can't just be outrageous and be like throwing his toys out the pram. Although obviously we saw a bit of that with Conte towards the end. But I just don't think he's a complete like yes man. But obviously you disagree somewhat.
I don't think he's like a complete like puppy. I don't think he would just sort of say yes to everything. However, no one on this planet will convince me that when he said he wanted 2 centre-backs, one of them being Van de Ven, I do not believe for 1 second he wanted Ashley Phillips for a second at all. I don't believe he will get the final say in everything that goes on, because even Conte didn't get that, Poch didn't get that, Mourinho didn't get that. So why would they do that with Ange when they're paying him a fraction of the price, a fraction of the money they were paying these other top managers? No offence to Ange intended there. I don't believe that his number one choice was Brennan Johnson, because it wouldn't have took that long to get it sorted. It would have come out before that he wanted him. I just think that all these people that sit there and say, well, he wouldn't have him. You know, they signed Ashley Phillips or they signed Valise. He must have wanted him. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I do not believe it. Maybe he gave a list. This is the only analogy I can possibly use. Maybe you gave a list of 10 players and Ashley Phillips might have been number 10. So he can turn around and say, yeah, I wanted him. But there's no way Ange, with 28 years of experience, would go out scouting and pluck out Brendan Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers? Where did that come from?
Well,
Brendan Johnson.
It's a bit old.
I know, Brendan Johnson for 47.5 million. Ashley Phillips as a centre-back when we'd been linked to Tapsoba and Tosin Adarabioyo. You know, oh no, we're settled for Phillips. You know, Lloyd Kelly, the latest one to be thrown around. That's my point. I think fans are naive to think that everything he says, he means. That when he sits there and says, I won't allow a player to come into this team if he doesn't fit into my system. Sorry, you're an employee by Daniel Levy who pays you millions every year. If Daniel Levy says, look, we're getting this player, I know he's not what you wanted, but this is what we can afford, he's going to suck it up. He ain't got a choice. He's an employee. That's my point. Everyone seems to think Ange will have the final say. And we've had much bigger egos, much bigger managers with much better experience and much more credibility not have the final say. So there is no way Ange is going to say.
So what I will say, Kate, against that, and a little cut back on that, is that when that guy spoke up about Daniel Levy on TalkSport, I don't know if you remember I can't remember his name now, but he worked with Tottenham, and he said that Pochettino, once he was trusted by Levy, Pochettino did get the final say. He did get a say. So to think that Ange will have no say, I think is probably okay. Maybe there might be situations. I completely understand where you're coming from, but I do think that Ange will get the final say. I think he gets given a budget and he gets told these are the amount of money you've got for these players, and then he has to pick players within that remit. I think that's probably more because he's going to get Daniel Levy doesn't talk to him about transfers. Don't forget that. He speaks to all of the scouts and the head of like obviously the person whoever does that whoever does the transfers. So actually, he doesn't. All Levy does is sign the checks. So he has to okay the checks. But the actual players come from the scouting. They come from the scouting, not from Daniel Levy. So I think that he will get some say in it. I don't think that he will literally have an absolute zero.
No, I don't think that. I don't think he'll get zero say. I mean, according to what Anne just said with this new team coming in of Johan Lang and Scott Munn, the idea is he will say, I need a player that can do this, this and this, that has this, this and that. They'll use their data model and come up with a name. So he will literally hand it over to them. But my point was, I just think fans can be a bit naive if they think Angie's got that much control, especially only being there 5 minutes. You know, you even said that once Levy trusted Poch, he gave him more say. Angie's only been there a few weeks. So for people saying Ange won't put up with that, Ange will walk. Will he though? He's getting, I don't even know how much money he's earning. I've heard 6 million a year. It could be more, it could be less.
4 to 6 million, I think.
So is he going to rock the boat at the moment? Probably not. Maybe if he's been there 18 months and things are going okay, he might get more trusted, and he'll always have some say. Of course he will, but I don't believe that Ashley Phillips was on his list. I think that was just someone Levy could get on the cheap. The same with Manus Solomon, a freebie.
But would you not say, for argument's sake, I'm just putting out an argument's sake, I'm not saying this is true, but would you not say that that's projection because of previous, obviously, situations that you're saying, oh, he definitely weren't on his list? We don't know that for sure, right? We don't know who was and wasn't on any kind of list. So what I will say is that the assumption is because he's cheap. We could have said that if Vicario didn't work out, would everybody then say, oh, that's just a cheap Levy option that was given? Or now he's good, everyone's bigging him up. I feel like that you can't have it both ways. If you're going to say that, then you've got to say, well, Vicario was a cheap option. But just because they're working out, then you're saying, oh, so it's okay.
To be fair with the Vicario thing, Ange had wanted him even when he was at Celtic, and Paratici had been scouting him for 2 years. So that was someone that was on the radar. But it's the same. Fans do the same thing with Paratici. They go, oh my God, he bought in Bentancur, he's amazing. Oh my God, he bought in so-and-so, he's amazing. But then you say, yeah, but he also bought in with Richarlison. They go, no, he didn't. That's a club signing. That was Levy. You can't have it both ways.
No, that's right. So, no, I agree with you. That's what I mean by not necessarily you. I'm not trying to accuse you, but I'm just saying fans do kind of want it both ways. And I just think to myself, like, that's not like fair, you know, to kind of want it both ways with all the players. Like, oh, no, that can't be his signing. Like, that can't be. Maddison, apparently we were looking at Maddison way before Ange, but Ange liked him as well. So is that a club signing? Is that an Ange signing, or is that just a likeness of minds?
I think that's a convenient signing as well, considering he was on the last year of his contract and we could get him cheap. Sorry for my cynicism, but it's true.
That's where, right, we have to be very creative as a club in terms of who we can go for and who we can't go for. Because you know the bigger clubs, Liverpool, Man City, all right, they're not, in terms of status now, they are a bigger club, because they're winning, and they're winning really well, right? So if we have to be very creative with the transfer market. So I'm sure Ange says, well, I've got this remit, I need these type of players, right? What can we get within our budget, and what can we get to be more creative on frees and loans and things like that? So the club are always looking to transition through that transfer market so that we can get the best of what's left in the pot. Because when you think about it, the top teams are going to get the cream of the crop, aren't they? They are, right? Because they'll want to go and win trophies, these players. So we're left, and we have to be very creative. So I think Ange does get a say, but when it comes to, say, a loanee, where you can get a loanee rather than spending, say, 50 million or 60 million on Richarlison, we should have been more clever in that respect, right? And also done our diligent homework. But now we've got this guy who's a statistician. I'm thinking we're going to get more right than we're going to get wrong. And with Angie's help in the type of player that he wants, I think he'll play a big role in the type of players that he wants to come in within our budget, if you know what I mean.
It's funny as well, we've suddenly been linked to Lloyd Kelly, and he's on his final year as well of his contract, so he's going to be cheap.
But do you know what, though? Liverpool also went in for Lloyd Kelly, apparently.
Blimey, I don't know if that's true, because he looks absolutely shocking.
I'm just saying what I heard. I'm not telling you facts, I'm just telling you what I heard.
What I've seen of him, I've not been impressed.
No, nor me.
So Swim Master here saying, and within the fan forum with Levy and the captain said he makes Levy's job easier as he only gives him a small list. He's not interested in second and third choices from the mouth of Ange. I think that you sometimes do need. I do understand where Kate's coming from. You've got to read between the lines, as in Spurs between the lines.
Nicely done.
Yeah,
it's such a good title.
They're Angie's first choice after the other clubs have got their first choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you've got to understand where we are though as a club. Like, we're not going to get first. We're not going to get first dibs. Come on, we're like we're not the kids that get. We're not the first dib kids, are we? We're the kids that we get to like choose a bit of sloppy seconds, sort of
But if we start winning, if we start winning trophies, we'll go up the pecking order. We will,
of course.
If we've got some monkey nuts.
Right. Champions League. Say for argument's sake, we win the Champions League next season, because not next season, the season after. All right. Then our status goes up, and if we win the league and we win cups, those players will start thinking, "Oh, I'll go to Spurs instead." They will. They might not. They might not necessarily come to us, but they'll use us as an option because they'll want to jump on the winning bandwagon, won't they? Like they did with Man City. Sorry, like Man City, they've won continuously, and now all the top players are going to them rather than to Liverpool, and Liverpool getting second dibs. Yeah,
no, I do get that. Philly here saying Levy said to Cambridge that he charges high prices to buy players, so there's no excuses for not spending money, seeing as the club raised their prices.
Yeah, because they're going to have a lot more revenue coming in.
Sloppy seconds, LOL. Yeah.
Big up Niall as well.
Big up to Niall, who's just come in. So I missed your comment. Big up to you. So, ladies, let's get on to the final one. The next 6 games. We touched on it, but it's tough, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's tough, but we've got 4 home games in there. Right, and we've only lost 1 home game this season in a freak game. That was a freak game. You can't even say we lost it, but it was like it wasn't fair that we lost it because we went down to 9 men and we lost 2 of our players as well to injury. So it was like a freak loss. So I'm saying we could win 3 of those home games, I think, and then the away games are going to be hard because Forest are no mean team at home, but I think we can get a point there and we'll probably lose to City. That's what I'll say. So I'll go 9, 10, 11 points out of the, 18?
Yeah. I think 7.
7, that's low. Wow, Mia, you're putting us into mid-table now.
Do you know why? Because I just think that these games, the Newcastle game, I know it's at home, but Newcastle have their moments where they're good. West Ham, that's always their game that for us, isn't it? They always love to beat us because they're really strange like that. City, I feel City's now going to be a pants down situation. I'm so concerned about this game. Honestly, I don't even know if I want to watch that game, Ellie. I'm just a bit like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if I want to watch it.
Get a nice big cushion, Mia. Get a nice or hide behind the sofa.
That's going to be the worst ever. So yeah, I'm not feeling overly confident. Do you know what? I think if we had Van de Ven and Romero, I'd feel much more confident about these games. But knowing that we can't play the way we want to play, and where's the creativity going to come from, I'm concerned. So, what about you, Kate?
Oh my God, I'm going to be the voice of real doom and gloom. I'm going a loss against Villa, a loss against City. The only game I'm picking us to win from this is the Everton game. I think we could get a point against West Ham and a point against Forest. So I'm going 5.
Wow.
That really is doom and gloom.
Honestly, I really think these fixtures are so tough. Villa would just look so dangerous going forward. The only good thing about that is their away form is crap so far. Man City is going to be an absolute annihilation. West Ham, I expect us to get
battered 4-2.
West Ham, I expect us to get a point. If the Newcastle squad is the one that played at the weekend, I think we could get a point there. But at our place, but
they've lost their 2 strikers, by the way. Isak and
but when they back,
they're both out.
They've got Dan Burn out. They've got so many injuries. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. If it's still injury-ridden Newcastle, I expect us to get a point. So that could be 6. Forest, I think under the lights. No. Everton, I expect. God, I've spelt that wrong. Eveton. I expect
Eveton.
I expect us to beat them because I've never heard of Eveton. So I'm giving us 3 points there. But yeah, I'm saying 6 tops, 5.
Wow.
5, 6.
Yeah. Well, we've got some different ones here. Julia's saying 12 points. Villa, Spammers, Newcastle, Everton.
Wow.
So she's going
we've beaten West Ham enough times at our place.
Swim Master saying 9 points. Leo is saying 10 points. So a bit more positive than me and you, Kate. I was quite reasonable, I thought, but you just topped that. You kind of went and sort of were like, don't tell Jim. Jim will come after you. You start saying stuff like that. He'll start coming on the show.
I think he's snoring downstairs. Steve D said 8 points, so he's on the lower side as well.
Yeah, I think I gave a reasonable one. If Chelsea can get a point against City, so can Spurs. I don't see why you cannot go out and win. Spurs used to always beat City. Ain't that easy? Do you know why? Because we used to play a different way now. We're going to be playing different. And I know we might be sort of playing a little bit Conte, but we're not scoring goals. So I'm not confident at all with this game. And it's at their place. Yeah.
With Dyer, we're getting 5.
15, Nick.
I'm going 11 to 5. Please don't play Dyer, please.
Mick's very confident here with the 15 points.
I think Nick's on the sauce.
Swim Master said lose against City, win against Everton, Newcastle, draw the rest, 9 points. I think that's reasonable. Fair enough. I think we'll beat Villa. Cannot see us losing 3 games in a row. We'll beat West Ham. We'll beat Newcastle as they have more players out than us, and we'll score past Forest and beat Everton. 15 out of the 18.
I think we're going to draw with Villa. I don't think we're.
I think it could be a draw.
And the other thing, as well as Villa looking so, I mean, they look good going forward. I think West Ham looks so dangerous going forward with Jared Bowen at the minute, and I don't think they're as easy as everyone thinks they're going to be.
Oh no, it won't be an easy game, but I think
it's their cup final at the end of the day, isn't it? They love it.
Yeah, that's what I said. They're really weird. They've got this weird thing where they build up a thing against us. It's like we're not your rivals, man. We never have been. Like, I don't know what you're chatting about. Well, strange people.
It's a different game, right? You can't go on past results because it's a totally different game. But in terms of West Ham, we usually have got the beating of them, but it is going to be harder this season because they've got that Conference League trophy in their pocket, and it's given them more confidence. I must admit, when I'm watching them, they look quite impressive up front. So it's not going to be an easy one.
Do you know?
I think we'll just about nick it.
Do you know what I was saying actually? That West Ham fans have hidden for years, right? I never see them out in their shirts. They win one bloody cup. And then you see West Ham fans popping around like they're the dog, like the dog's bees. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, look at us. And I'm like, seriously. It's just depressing,
mate. Stratford Shopping Centre, and there's West Ham fans everywhere.
Good Lord, yeah, that's where they preside, don't they? Down that kind of ways. But yeah,
Yeah.
just even because round here, actually, there's a lot of Tottenham supporters around here. There's actually a supporters thing that you can go and get the coach to go to Tottenham if you go to games and stuff. So there's a big Tottenham supporters around here. But yeah, I did see a few West Ham ones. I was a bit like, have you no shame?
Lincoln, there's Tottenham supporters everywhere in Lincoln. I don't know why. I think it's because of all us Londoners have moved up here because it's cheaper. And there's Tottenham fans literally everywhere in Lincoln.
Love it.
There's Tottenham fans everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, in Lowestoft. There's a Tottenham fan in Lowestoft.
Yeah. We're everywhere.
I'm only here for a week though. I'm back into North London next week. Come on. I feel strange up here as well. But I've got the beach only 10 minutes up the road, so I'm going to take a walk down there tomorrow.
Lovely.
Yes.
I might take the dog for a walk as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So I think we're going to leave it there, ladies. I think we've had a good chat about everything. Please don't forget to go and subscribe to everybody. Let me see. It's not please go and subscribe to Kate if you're over on my channel. Is it that one?
That one.
And then subscribe to Kate if you're over on Kate's channel. To me, please make sure you go over to both channels and smash that like button as well. Like I say, that really, really helps. Quickly say, Nippin's just nipped in. Big up to you.
I'm on the show tomorrow, so I'm going to big him up. He's invited me on his show tomorrow.
Even though I booed him earlier when he come in. Boo.
He's a very good Chelsea fan, I must admit.
No, he's all right.
He hates Arsenal, so I like him.
Listen, he knows if he starts on me, I just literally, I go from 1 to 100 with him real quick. When he starts slagging off my team, I don't care. I'm shameless. He knows it. We had many discussions on Twitter.
Well, he's always respectful when I'm on his show, so there you go.
Leo said, I've got my Spurs beanie on when I go to the shop. Spurs fan always speak to me. Not this last week, though. Yeah, we're all in a bit of hiding, to be fair. I didn't even wear my Tottenham, like any of my jumpers out or anything. I'm a bit like, I'm ashamed. It's like that shame thing again. I've got the shame bit around my neck. It's like, oh, God.
Start putting the Spurs shirt in the bottom drawer.
This is a dual stream, Nippin. So please go over and like on Kate's because you're over on mine. So make sure you go over and like as well. Thanks. From Robert, we've got Mick saying Coys, absolutely, always.
Dundee.
Nippin saying, you're like my older sister, Mia. Do you know that? Oh, bless you, Nippin. I'm an older sister that's going to beat you up, though, for supporting the wrong team. I wouldn't let you support. I wouldn't let you support Chelsea if you was my brother. I'll beat you up until you supported Tottenham.
You know, Nippin, he's a chef, right? And he's been travelling all around the world. And he sent me a picture of him with Sonny in the background in the really plush hotel where he's staying, right? So he's back this week now. So we were supposed to do the show, but I couldn't do it because I was coughing too much. But we're going to do it tomorrow now. So it's always a late night one. So if you can join us, ladies, please do join us.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're awake.
When's that tonight?
It's tomorrow night at 10:30.
Yeah, and if you haven't already, go over and support NS Sports TV.
He's a good lad.
He's a good lad for a Chelsea supporter.
I know.
Lee Smith.
Reminder, everyone, 1 o'clock tomorrow on Just a Girl Loves Spurs. We've got Mickey Hazard live coming on. He messaged me not long ago just to confirm that he's definitely going to be there. So,
Mickey Hazard. Wow,
Mickey
Hazard.
Make sure you come over to Just a Girl Loves Spurs at 1 o'clock and see the man, the myth, the legend, Mickey Hazard live on the show for a quick chit chat about all things Tottenham. I want to know what he thinks about Ange and the new players and the new style and all these things. So make sure you're there. It's going to be a good show. I can't wait.
Yeah, 100%. We've got our questions in for him as well, so I'll be looking forward to
our questions in
to seeing what he says. I can't wait. It's really exciting to have him on now, Kate.
Yeah.
So it'll be a brilliant show. So please make sure you put your notification bell on for that one. You do not want to miss Mickey Hazard. Absolutely not. So we've got Niall for the final comment. Whoa, this has been a brilliant show. Happy hump day for tomorrow. Love for the love. There we go. Big up to Niall.
I love Niall. The man from Montrose, I call him.
So everybody, please take really good care of yourselves, and we'll speak again real soon. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
In Ange we trust.